So I wanted to do an opening keynote for ages, and no one would give me a slot, so I decided to create my own. I decided to open it. So start with why. I think it's really important that we start from a place of purpose, and we realize that everything we create starts from this point where we love what we do and we get paid to do it. Again, this is a concept that I've gotten used to over the last few years, and I'm really grateful for being able to be involved with the clique that I'm in. But I'm not going to give you any advice, because I don't know whether you guys know Socrates. He was a wise Greek philosopher, and he walked around giving advice to a whole bunch of people, but they poisoned him. So I'm not going to give you any advice. I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of questions. And the questions that I'm going to ask you are hopefully going to give you enough to think about and spend some time about thinking about it. So what we're going to cover today in my session is the impact of starting with your why, how to determine your purpose, because I think there's a lot of stuff that has been covered, and I'm going to cover the bits of stuff, especially Simon Sinek stuff. Why a podcast allows you to build on your purpose, and why it is going to explode now, and why it is exploding and it's going up, and how to set yourself up to win every day. So how do you live your purpose on every day and do these little tasks that make you, I suppose, accountable?
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you take anything out of this 2 days, please live on a purpose that allows you to do what you feel really resonates with you. It doesn't matter what people think. It's not the critic that matters. It's not the person who points out and tells you how bad things are and why things didn't work and how things are not going to work for you. And as an entrepreneur, I know it's sometimes a very, very lonely road. Only the people that are really close to us realize what we go through on a, I wouldn't say daily basis, but maybe on a weekly basis. Sometimes we have doubts, but this is a really awesome quote from Roosevelt, and I have this actually stuck up on my wall just to remind me, because a lot of times it's very easy with this event. I was so naive with this event when we first started, and I think it got too far that we couldn't even pull out. So here we are. Why should you listen to me? I thought this was really important, because who's this guy telling us to live our purpose? So I'm a chef. I started Bon Appetit 2 years ago. I had a restaurant that was a combination of Portuguese flavors and Indian spices that we did service on a Saturday night, and on Sunday the locks were changed and we didn't have a business, which is a long story, but I won't get into it. But just to give you perspective, I had amazing support around me. And from that point, I created Bon Appetit. I've got a couple of master's degrees. I've got an MBA and a master's of software engineering. I suppose I am Indian, and we are technically inclined. I think in India, what happens is we first become engineers to find out what we should do for the rest of our lives. So that's what I did. I have a lot of food experience with the restaurant and with cooking for people. And I love connecting people and ideas in new and innovative ways. So I like doing things different. And I've just noticed only through the last couple of years that there was a trend in my lifetime. And I will get into the intersection because I think that was a huge aha moment for me, and there's a few minutes on that. So I started Bon Appetit, June 2014, and when I started Bon Appetit, the idea was, all right, I'm cooking for these high-end individuals who love what they do, and they knew they were supposed to eat well, but how did they make that happen? And I thought, well, how do I get to the people that are commuting every day, that are going to work, that are in the bus, in the train, and how do I get them to think about food a bit differently? So I started Bon Appetit, and we got onto the top of food, and we were there for like 14 weeks. We were also on the top of health on iTunes for over 10 weeks. We fitness and nutrition for 9 weeks, and I wish I had more screenshots, because I look at these pictures and I can't believe it, really, because we were on top of iTunes in all categories as well. But this was the kicker. This right here, we were on iTunes for over 5 months next to Triple J and ABC Radio on the banner section, and that really helped Bon Appetit get to as many, I suppose our listenership started from that point. And about just over a year on, these are our stats, and it boggles my mind when I look at those stats. And this screenshot was taken on the 12th of October. I don't like checking my stats, so I don't check them. And I haven't checked them since the 12th of October, and I just decided to put this screenshot up here. But 1.2 million downloads in just over a year. And what I really want to hit home with is that it is all possible. It is all possible when you do something that you really love to do. People care for whatever reason. There's an illusion of success and happiness, and I suppose I want to make sure that we know that there is no end. Someone said this to me a while ago, that entrepreneurship is like playing catch with your kid. You don't want to throw the ball too hard that they don't catch the ball and don't throw it back, and it's not the end of the game. As in, if you win at that point, that's it. So you've got to throw it hard enough that they throw it back to you, and it's a game that keeps going up and down, so there is no end. But I suppose the question at that point is, if there is no end, what kind of goals do we look forward to? What kind of goals do we make for ourselves? And I think what we try and do is we play it safe. And I have to say that until this point, I've played it safe a lot in my life. I've done everything that allowed me to just sort of say, hey, if this doesn't work out, I have a backup plan. And as my wife will tell you, Ronsley, she says to me all the time, Ronsley, your backup plans have backup plans. And I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I still don't know if it's a compliment, but until We Are Podcast, I never put myself out there to a point that I suppose failure could mean that I would be shown up for whatever came my way. I don't know whether it's a place of no fear. I think Nelson Mandela said it really nicely. He said, I learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. And I can tell you, for the last 5 months, I have been scared so many times. Michaela and Linda will tell you that they've seen me in my weakest moments. Obviously, Rochelle has as well. But I don't know. Today feels good, and I want to thank you guys for all being here. So, why is your purpose so important? Why is it that I feel like this should be the opening keynote? Well, we also had a speaker that cancelled, so that's why I'm in the spot. But why do I believe that your why is important? I think we all have things we're passionate about. I mean, there used to be a time where I used to go to barbecues and talk about food and how healthy food is and how important it is for you to worry about what kind of food goes into your body, and people would be like, what is this guy on about? I just want to eat my burger. Like, stop annoying me. But now I have conversations with people tuning in who really care about that. And there's always an audience. And again, going back to that quote about the critic, there's always people out there that I suppose don't run in your shoes, but would love to give you advice. And I'd ask you to think about who's giving you advice and whose advice are you taking. Somehow, when you're living on your purpose and you're doing stuff that really matters to you and really stuff that really appeals to you, your obstacles seem easier to overcome. I wouldn't say that they're easier to overcome. I think they seem easier to overcome. You feel like it's easier for you to deal with them. And somehow you surprise yourself and the people around you with the things that you're capable of. Like if you asked me a year ago that I'd be standing here, I don't think that was possible. I didn't think that was possible. I didn't think that that was even a possibility. But I believe that in today's connection economy, everyone has the opportunity to do what they love to do. And not only do they get paid to do it, but there are people that are willing to listen. There are people who care about what matters to you, whether it might be crochet or, I don't know, I suppose virtual assistants. It doesn't matter. When you know what you love to do, people who like those things will gravitate towards you. And Wayne Dyer, who recently passed away, has been a great mentor of mine, and I've listened to all his books, all the stuff that he's put out. And he has this beautiful saying, don't die with your music still inside you. It's your responsibility. Each and every one of us has the responsibility to make sure that we put our music out into the world and have the right people around us to support us. There's this amazing nurse, Bronnie Ware. She was interviewed. What she actually does is she deals with the dying. And they compile this list of 5 regrets that the dying have. And on top of that list is, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. And I think we do that a lot. Like, I suppose coming from a background where I did a bachelor's of engineering and I did a master's in software engineering, I suppose I should have been in a corporate cubicle programming away. And I think if I was still there, I would have probably shot myself by now. But luckily, gun control in Australia is not that bad. But I suppose when I see things like this, the things that really come to mind are, if we don't really pay attention, it might be too late. We have the opportunity today to do things that really mean a lot to us, and I think we should be doing it. Having a keynote that's labeled Start With Your Why would be stupid not to mention Simon Sinek. His book is, if you haven't watched the TED Talk, you should check it out. It's free. It's online, TED.com. But Simon Sinek has this brilliant book that he has, and it's called Start With Why. This is a really nice illustration of what he means. But people don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. And a lot of the times what happens is that we know what we do. We tell people all the time, I fix computers, or I cook food, or I coach people. We tell people all the time what we do. We even tell them how we do it sometimes. We take it a step further and we tell people, hey, I fix computers and I do it in this really innovative way. That's why you should hire me. But people don't really care about that. They care about why you do it. Think about Apple owners. You see Apple out here. People don't really care about the fact that you have an Apple computer, I suppose. But if you look in an airport lounge, you find people opening a laptop that's Apple, and they don't do it because it's got cool technology and all that. I suppose they do it because they feel united to the other people that have Apple computers. And if you notice, well, there are some HPs over there, but I think this is a really good starting point for starting with why. Simon Sinek's book. Now, if you think about history and we look at the things that have changed the way we thought of the world, we can all go back to a point in history where a speech changed the way we saw the world. Now, when there are people that live on purpose, take Malala, for example, shot by the Taliban and got a Nobel Peace Prize before she was 18 years old. You know she's living on purpose. And I know I'm using extreme cases, but I think those are really good examples for us to live on. Sometimes we think of things and we look at things and we kind of go, that doesn't seem right. There used to be a time, not long ago, that we believed as a species on the planet that, gay marriage is ridiculous. And we've come a long way since. Talking about speeches that change the way we see things. This speech that is so famous, it was the 300th time that Martin Luther King gave that speech. So he didn't stop. And again, think about the people that have changed the way we saw the world. And who's to say that you guys or we all here right now don't have the opportunity to do the same? What is it that you're so passionate about, that you care about, that you want people to look at differently? Like that Michelle Bridges advertisement was stupid. Oh man, that one really annoys me. But getting back to the point, I suppose, it's not about how many times we fail. Failure is inevitable. It's not about how we circumvent failure, how we step around it, it's about overcoming it. It's how many times can we get up despite failure. And if you look at any success story, you pick them out from wherever you can, they will tell you about all the failures that they've had. And their failures are way, way bigger than any of our failures. And that's why their success is a lot bigger than any of our successes. All right. I promised a view on purpose. So what I want to talk about is values. And I think finding out your purpose is really, I suppose, makes everything easier. It is like a point from where you kind of feel like you're not swimming upstream. It's not like you're running a marathon with a backpack on. It's just you're shedding all this baggage. And when you find out what that is, it is really, I suppose it sets you free. So I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I'm not giving you advice, as I mentioned before. I don't want to get poisoned. There's too much food around for the next couple of days. But what do you guys pay most attention to? What is it that you look around and see most of? Like when you look around your desk, as an example, what is it that you notice? What are the things that make you who you are? Ask yourself those kind of questions. And I know this is a very, a lot of people ask this question, but gun to your head, what is most important to you? Like if you had to choose between two big things in your life, what would it be? And I'm not saying that you've got to make the choice, I'm just saying that you've got to be aware of what those choices are. A lot of people say family. I don't know. What gives you most energy? What is it that when you start talking about, you don't care if someone disagrees with you. You don't care whether someone doesn't see it the way you want to see it. You don't even care whether someone's actually even listening to you. What are those things that give you the most energy? And when you think about your lifetime and you go back to the time in your life that made you most happy, what are the things that you look back with fond memories? What are those things? So what I'd ask you guys to do is take these questions down, and when you get a chance, spend an hour just with yourself and leave your mobile phone at home and take a notebook and spend some time asking yourself these questions. And a lot of the times when we ask ourselves these questions, they're so hard to answer that we decide not to do them. And they're really, really important for how we proceed, in my opinion. Intersection. Glenn Carlson at the back has introduced me to intersection, and I think that was a turning point. And if you Google Glenn Carlson, Ronsley, there is a conversation on SoundCloud of us having a conversation about purpose and intersection. And I think it's a really good way of explaining purpose. It's the intersection of your two highest values. So what is it that makes you tick? What is the highest values that you have? And it's across of those two that is your intersection, that is your purpose. And I can't explain it as well as obviously Glenn can, but I want to talk about my intersection. So I love connecting people and ideas in new and innovative ways. So I love connection. I love connection over disruption. So if there is no disruption, I don't like the connection. And if there's no connection, I don't like the disruption. Steve Jobs, as an example, he loved liberal arts. His two highest values were liberal art. He was on the intersection of liberal arts and technology. So everything he did from Pixar to Apple to the iPhone was all on that intersection. Richard Branson, business and fun were his two highest values, and when they came together, that determined his intersection. So I'd ask you guys to determine your highest values, and then find out, go back in your life, and see where those two come together. Find out whether they align with what made you happy, and go back to those 4 questions that we sort of made, that we asked before, and ask yourself those questions. So if there's anything that I ask you to do is, there's a bit of exercise in here, and again, it's just spending some time and spending that hour with yourself to find out what your highest values are. I believe that it's very easy, once you have your intersection, once you realize what your purpose is, to stop doing it. Things get in the way. I've had that happen over the last couple of months, where I suppose I didn't do what I was meant to be doing because it all got too hard for me. But what is so a launch sequence for me is what you do every day that sets you up for the day. So when I talk about launch sequence, I talk about how do you start your day, and do you just wake up and decide, I'm just going to walk out of the house because I got an appointment in the next half hour? Or do you like you think about all the successful people, everyone has something that they do at the start of their day. And there's this book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, I want to say is his name. It's called Savers, and what he says in this book is you set aside 60 minutes of your day at the start of your day, and you do these 6 things, and it's called Savers. So you spend time in silence. You spend 10 minutes in silence, 10 minutes of affirmations, 10 minutes visualizing stuff, 10 minutes of exercise, 10 minutes of reading, and then 10 minutes of scribing, so journaling. That's a bit, for me, that's a bit much. That's a lot for me to do, and I don't land up doing a lot of it. But having something in the morning that sets you up to do the rest of your day really, really helps. So Tim Ferriss talks a lot about this in his podcast. If you haven't checked the Tim Ferriss Show, there is an episode that he talks about his launch sequence, and I think that's really important for us to sort of pay attention to, because he talks about making your bed, and Rochelle will realize why, because the last couple of days I've been making my bed when I started doing the research for this session. I realized Tim Ferriss makes his bed, so I think I should make my bed too. And she's like, why is the bed being made, Ronsley? I said, I'm just being nice. You've been saying that for a while, and I just think that I should do it. But I have a sequence of events that I do every morning, and there are times, don't get me wrong, there are times that I don't do it. There are times that, life, quote unquote, gets in the way. But I have a sequence of things that I do on a good day that helps me set up for the day, and by far that day seems to be one of the most successful days that I have. So I ask you to do that. So look around. There's a lot of people that are talking about morning routines. There are lots of people that are doing a lot of stuff around that area. So research, and it can be something very small like making your bed, but have something that you do every day that sets you up for the day. And don't look down. Accountability. I think accountability is the next step. So you find your purpose. You find a way to do that on a regular basis, and then be accountable, because things are going to get in the way. Have your support system around you. Now, a lot of us say, I would love to do this. When I say this, it can be anything. It can be losing weight. It can be starting a business. It can be whatever it is. And a lot of us say, but I've tried all these different ways of doing things, but it doesn't work. Let's take losing weight as an example. I think we can all, like, if we really wanted to lose weight, we could. If we really, really wanted to lose weight, we could. And I'll tell you right now how we can lose weight. So if you went home today and in your underwear, you clicked 6 images of yourself and gave it to a friend that you really trusted. You really trust this person, you know them, and they really know you. You give these images to them, right? And you set yourself a goal. 3 months, I'm going to lose 10 kilos. And you talk to this friend about it, and you say, is that realistic? And if it determines to be realistic, then that's your goal. Now, the consequences are, if you don't hit your goal, your friend has the permission to release those images on Facebook. You will find a way, my friends, to lose weight if you had to. So create a support system. I'm not saying that you should do it. I'm just saying that if you really wanted to, you can. Mastermind groups. I think having people around you that really care about your success and you really care about their success is key. So find a bunch of people that you like. Today, like next couple of days, is a really good time that you can do that. Find a bunch of people that you like, that you resonate with, that want you to succeed as much as they want to succeed, and find a way to get together with them on a regular basis, whether it is weekly or bi-monthly, or whatever it might be. Right. So, why a podcast allows you to live your why. You can get to be yourself, and it doesn't matter what that self turns out to be. You can get a chance to voice your opinions, like that Michelle Bridges ad, to a bunch of people. You can get on your soapbox. You can talk about things that really matter to you. You get to be recognized as an expert. Like even if you get a whole bunch of experts onto your show and you talk to them about your industry, somehow you find a way to curate a whole bunch of content that people look up to you to be the person to go to. Now, you see a lot of, like Entrepreneur on Fire is a podcast that he is making over $300,000 a month only in podcasting. Now that is ridiculous. I don't think that's fair. And if you think about John Lee Dumas, and if you ever listen to him, I actually had a conversation with him, and I had a conversation and asked him, I said, dude, are you really ready to ignite at every opportunity you get? And he is, that's just the kind of person he is. He's been doing that episode in and episode out, whether he's interviewing someone on his show or going on other people's show. That is who John Lee Dumas is. So it becomes easy for him to be authentic on the mic, but sometimes when you listen to it, you kind of go, this guy's a douche. But he isn't, that's just who he is. You get to work with some really cool clients because these people kind of know who you are, and you don't really have to have the sales conversation. How many of us hate the sales conversation? the sales conversation is rubbish, isn't it? It's like it's absolutely one of those teeth-pulling exercises. But when you start talking about what really matters to you and people listen to who you are, oh, really? 10 minutes? Then I suppose people get a chance to know you for who you are, so you don't compete on price anymore. This is why I believe the podcast medium is going to explode. We have the opportunity to listen and get smarter while we're doing other things. Everyone's listening to podcasts in the gym or in the car on their leisure time, and it's one of those things that you don't have to stop to consume. So video and blogging, you've got to stop whatever it is you're doing to consume the content, and podcasting is not like that. So podcasting allows you to multitask and really connect with people. I think the connection economy is where we are at right now. You'd rather go to a restaurant that you can connect with the owners or the waitstaff with rather than a restaurant that doesn't really care about you. Audio search engines and Apple CarPlay is already in Apple CarPlay is already in every 2015 model in the States. We have the ability to interact with audio and share audio. That is happening as we speak. So we're actually working on this technology where you can search within an audio file. And I think that's really going to make things a lot easier for us to get our message out there, where people are actually searching for stuff and they find our audio file. Our attention span seems to be getting smaller than a goldfish. So it's easier to have, just think about this, like blogging, 300, 500 words at the most if someone is really interested in you, in what you have to say. Video, think about your Facebook feed and how many people are actually watching the whole video on your Facebook feed. So that maybe you have 2, 3 minutes, 4 minutes at the most. But an average podcast is about half an hour because people are listening. They're doing other things while they're listening. So the connection that you land up making through a podcast is so great. It's insane. Gimlet Media at the end of 2014 got funded $2 million only to start a podcasting company that will release a new podcast every year for the next 3 years. So just to give you an idea of where the industry is going, it is audio on demand is the place to be right now. Now, this is thanks to Robert Garrett. He sent me these images. This was done by, I've written this guy's name down so I don't forget, Michael Wolff. Michael Wolff gave a presentation on the future of tech and media for the Wall Street Journal at the end of October. And these were his slides. So he was talking about the opportunities in digital audio and how many people are going to start listening to it. And if it's on his radar, it should be on ours, shouldn't it? And this is where he thinks, this is the projection of where people are going to be listening, how many people are going to be listening. It's in billions of hours. It's a steep slope. I can't stress enough how important it is to get involved now. And if you ever thought, would I really make a connection with a bunch of people through the auditory sense? I want you to watch this video, and I think some of you might have already seen it. But this tells you the power of audio.
Recording, Lachlan. First hearing aid.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the big moment here.
She's gonna hear something. We don't really know what.
I'm going to roll this on. I'm going to push in your head just a little bit.
There you go. Beeping. So now technically your device is on. Can you tell? You said you hear it. Hey, I sound.
You're hearing yourself better.
Okay.
You can cry. That's okay.
Hi, Cooper. Hi, Cooper. Hi, Cooper.
He's smiling.
What do you think?
Hi, baby.
Sounds good.
I know I look like an elderly munchkin, but do I sound like one now?
Is it on? My God, I can hear myself.
Yeah. That's good.
It's okay.
Blue,
Blue,
orange,
orange,
red,
red,
black,
black,
purple.
purple.
What do you think?
What is it like? It's okay.
So different, dude.
Sound clear or does it sound muffled?
Sounds clear.
I'm so